confirm he's online. Okay, there he is. All right, the attorney is online. Our city planner is present. Our city engineer is present, along with Councilmember Dunlap, Gady, Tanner, and Lunn, and our city administrator. At this time, I'll ask you all to join us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Our first item of business this evening is the open forum. This is the portion of the meeting where you can come to the podium, state your name and address, and limit comments to 5 minutes or less. Would anyone like to speak at this time?
Dave Davis, 6689 Packard Avenue Northeast, Elk River. Okay, I've got quite a few things for you guys. I was at the Albertville meeting last week, and they discussed our compost site that we share with the recycling site with Albertville. Apparently, there's a lot of problems of contractors showing up and dumping logs, clay, and other debris from their businesses because the site's got really no control on it other than their sign. They said it costs $90,000 twice a year to have somebody come in, shred up all the wood, and haul it away. So far, from what I understand, some private company has gone in there, done that, and taken all the chips for whatever reason. So they're looking at new ways to control access to our site. It also includes residences who own businesses and landscaping, tree removal, also using the site as their business dumping grounds. I've been there a few times. It's appalling how much crap shows up. You can hardly turn around in it on some weekdays. So they're going to probably be talking to you guys for a solution on how to control that. I imagine like other sites like Elk River, they have an access card that they charge citizens money for, and that's the only way they can get in and out of their compost site in Elk River. So just so you know about that. They also were the council was very worried about the residents closer to their fire station. If there's a fire, if we don't have a contract with Albertville, they get to sit there and watch the fire and wait for Otsego Fire Department to show up. We also are going to be talking about who's responsible for 94 accident scenes, eastbound or westbound, who takes care of which side. So there's a lot of other things to consider with this fire department. Their fire chief happens to be the president of the Minnesota Fire Chiefs Association. Why we didn't hire him to do our fire station as a consultant, I have no idea. We would have been better off in the long run paying him and wouldn't be out $1 million. And the fire chief who disappears after 5 years. As our chief indicated recently, once our station's up, he's out of here. Nice way to make $1 million and not be answerable or accountable for anything. This time, I also want to congratulate the Otsego City Council, both current and from the previous administration. You wonder why? Well, very simple. You guys are going to be famous. Can you guess why? The school district in Buffalo is developing a course for all the students on government, featuring the establishing of the Otsego Fire Department. They've got videos of all the meetings. They capture every eye roll, every laugh, every disrespectful thing that city council members do when people are talking, over talking the public. It's going to be quite educational. They're going to use it for citizen participation in the process. Your favorite topic, social media. I wonder what group that might include. They also are going to be having discussions. They're developing this course. They're going to be talking about watching the mayor lose control of the meetings, and not being able to maintain order. They're going to be talking about the mayor not being able to know when to use out when you're out of order, as was evidenced when a former council member was attacking Ryan's mental health. It automatically would have required the presiding person of the meeting to call that person out of order and stop it. Evidently, that was not the decision that was made. The students are going to vote. They do all the videos of past council meetings and anything related to the fire station, the pros and the cons, democracy in action, the use of the EDA, the use of the CIP. And so it'll be a very wonderful democracy in action report for the students and an extremely important class for them to have. I wish my civics class had something like this, but you guys will be famous. I also want to congratulate you guys for the meeting that you had last week. I personally view it as a disaster. We have concerned citizens have posted videos that you guys decided not to record. There were several. The meeting was recorded in its entirety, live, streamed, and then the best clips of the video were presented individually. Those videos have been viewed by over 25,000 views. I don't think any Otsego City Council meeting has ever come anywhere near those numbers. Other people from throughout the area have got phone calls, emails from Buffalo, Hamill, you name it, Orono, all those things, commenting on what they saw and how appalled they were at a lot of it. At the meeting that the city council in Albertville had last week, there were many questions. Why is it at that meeting we found out that we're going to be spending 1.6 million on staffing for the fire department? We pay 1.3 million for the coverage from all the different departments. That 1.6 million is twice what any fire department in this area pays their firemen. What is this chief doing with our money? And how can this continue? And why are our firemen going to be sitting at a station and not be the first responders, but wait for volunteer people to show up? I think that's a pretty fair question. No other city that I know of has 80,000 set aside as an incentive to hire fire people. Their chief also said every fire department in the state is having problems getting firemen and retaining them. Albertville alone is losing 3 firemen this year. 2 of them are moving, and I don't know what the reason is for the 3rd one. But they're also scrambling to try to get. Paying twice as much, who are we going to be poaching to get to join our fire department? It's like maybe it might be a good idea, but I don't think it's going to work. The other thing is that I'd like to know is at that meeting, the mayor was directly asked why she chose to use the EDA. She didn't get an answer. We got the runaround. Oh, we chose the EDA when the council chose an EDA. We know what the council did. Why can't you answer the question? Why did you use the EDA? It's a very simple question. I think the reason is because we already know the answer. It prevents the citizens from voting against a fire department. If you look at history, I love history, so I read a lot on history. It's in Stalingrad. The Germans had the greatest army in the world, took over Europe, got to Stalingrad, and they told their people,
10 seconds.
yeah, they're going to win. They didn't win. They lost. But I would like a direct answer. Why did the mayor decide and the council to use an EDA rather than a CIP bond and let the referendum happen and have the voters decide yes or no on this massive expensive bill? Thank you.
Thank you. All right, any other comments?
Vincent Peterson, 1406467 Circle. I would just like to say that I believe that we currently have the best fire services that money can buy. I do not believe building a $20 million or $16 million, okay, building, it's going to improve on what we have for fire services in several ways, because 20 or $16 million of debt is not going to help the city. Having our full-time staff, that is going to increase the cost of having fire services in Otsego. People are not willing to pay for having a new shiny fire department with full-time staff when we don't need it, when we have great fire services the way that it is, the way that it's been for decades. Okay, and I would like to appeal to the city council that I talk to a lot of people. And I know that there is a lot of people out there that have a great job and make a lot of money and have no problem paying additional property taxes, whatever that winds up to be for this new fire department. But I also know that there's a lot of people that are retired, that their husbands have passed away or their spouse has passed away. They're a single person on Social Security. They love their home. They've lived here all their lives. They're going to have to figure out how to move because they're not going to be able to increase their income. They're on a fixed income. Social Security, the cost of living increase is not going to help them pay their property tax increases. When you're talking about thousands of dollars, if you start talking about the county increasing taxes by double digits, you talk about the school system going to need a new high school here, and then you talk about the city, doing some kind of huge increase on property taxes. Those all add up to thousands of dollars on people's property taxes, and they're not going to be able to afford it. And so have you thought about those thousands of people? I understand that there's thousands of people maybe they can afford, they have a $400,000 house, maybe they'll have a $100,000 a year job. But what about these people that are on Social Security that are on a low income job, making their waitress or something, making $10 an hour? What about them people? This is going to impact people in a huge way. And I just want to make sure that you're considering, everyone in the community. When you talk about the people that have got enough money to pay property tax increase, that's great. I'm happy for them. What about the people that can't? Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments? Okay. We will close the open forum and move on to consider our agenda for approval. Does anyone have anything that they would like to add or delete at this time?
Madam Mayor,
Ms. Corey?
I will make a motion to approve the agenda as written.
Second. Motion by Corey, seconded by Tina. Is there any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion passes. What's with the feedback that we're getting?
I think it's the light cover again.
Oh.
Sounds like this.
Just a weird rattle.
Shake, rattle, and roll.
All right. Moving on to item 3, our consent agenda. A motion would be in order.
Madam Mayor,
Yes, Corey.
make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Motion by Corey, seconded by Tina. Is there any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Moving on to item 4.1, Tanglewood Second Edition. I'll turn this over to the planner.
Thank you, Mayor. We have Tamarack Development here this evening with their second addition to their Tanglewood development, which is located west of McIver Avenue, north of 70th Street, County Road 38. The application involves consideration of the vacation of existing right-of-way and utility easements that are within the plat. Those need to be vacated so that the property can be cleared for subdividing into single-family lots. This is related to the preliminary plat that was approved March 25th in 2024 that included 185 single-family lots. The second phase of the development includes 58 single-family lots. There's also one outlot that would be reserved for a future third phase of development. When there's a final plat approved by the city, the developer enters into a contract with the city to provide for completion of the public improvements in a timely manner, consistent with the city's requirements. So the property is, again, located west of McIver Avenue, north of County Road 38. It's guided by the comprehensive plan for low density residential development. When the preliminary plat was approved, the property was rezoned to R5 single and 2-family district, making single family lots a permitted use within the property. Concurrent with that approval was also a conditional use permit that allowed the developer flexibility on lot area requirements, consistent with the policies of the 2023 comprehensive plan. This is really an infill development that is surrounded by the Sunray Farms and Dewar Creek developments to the west, Arbor Creek to the north, and Martin Farms to the east. All of those properties developed in the early 2000s. This one didn't, and that's the reason for the vacation. The trunk water main that serves most of the West Sewer District goes straight through this field, and it's just now that this property is being developed. So that's the reason for the vacation request. This is the water main shown on the right side of the street, where the city's trunk water main runs through the property. The line's not being moved within the plat, but for one end to slightly adjust it with the alignment of the plat. The plat will provide for dedication of new easements over this existing corridor, so there's no change substantially to the easement or the line that's in place. It's only a procedural matter. This section of Lannon Avenue is a remnant of the former Meyer addition. You recall there was one single family home at the end of this street that was originally owned by the underlying landowner's daughter and her husband. The entire property was sold. The Meyer addition was vacated with the preliminary plat. But because the daughter and son-in-law kept their home, it was necessary to maintain this section of Landon Avenue until this second edition plat, when that house will be removed and new lots created. So this is something that would have typically been done with the first preliminary plat, but for keeping that house up until this phase of development. The final plat again consists of 58 single family lots to the north of the first phase of development. It includes dedication of right-of-way and construction of public streets. All of these are local streets, so they're the 28-foot wide street section with a sidewalk on one side. All the connection points to the second edition either come through Tanglewood to the south or to existing connections to the west to Sunray Farms as part of the plats that were developed previously. As I said, the lot requirements are those of the R5 zoning district, which is 60 feet minimum, 9,000 square feet in area. The preliminary plat included a conditional use permit allowing flexibility, the smallest lot being 7,500 square feet within this, but they're well over the mean and median requirement looking at it that way. Setbacks are all standard for the R5 district. There is an issue with the R5 district where the change in the setback wasn't recognized as part of the lot width requirement for corner lots. So with that PUD CUP with the preliminary plat, the corner lots were allowed to reduce by 12 feet down to 78 feet in width, so that you're basically maintaining the same building pad for each lot, but you have the corner lot setback recognized on the side lot abutting the street. The properties will all be connected to public sewer and water utilities that are being extended throughout the second edition. The city engineer has reviewed those plans and approved of them. Stormwater management has also been reviewed by the city engineer and found to be consistent with the overall preliminary plat, stormwater management plan, and controlling the water within this phase of development in accordance with the subdivision ordinance and city code. Easements will be dedicated at the perimeter of each of these single family lots and over any surface drainage ways within the lots, including any rear stormwater areas covered by a utility pipe. The city isn't requiring land be dedicated for parks within this area of the final plat. There is some land that would be dedicated in the third phase to provide a connection between this neighborhood and Arwood Creek to the north. That connection point provides then trail access to get you to Beaudry Meadows Park. So this is within that service area. In lieu of the land dedication for this phase of development, the developer will pay a cash fee in accordance with the fee schedule. And again, the city attorneys drafted the development contract, which is included in your packet. The developer would execute that at the time the final plat is signed and provide all the required fees, securities, and escrow amounts. City staff was recommending approval of the final plat. The land use is consistent with recommendations of the comprehensive plan. The need for the council to actually discuss this is the public hearing requirement for the vacation. Otherwise, this would have been a final plat. It would have been a consent agenda item, but the need to hold the public hearing requires obviously discussion. But the existing right-of-way and easement will no longer serve a public purpose with the approval of this final plat, so the vacation is appropriate. The plat itself complies with the requirements of the subdivision ordinance and zoning ordinance. So we've included in your packet resolution 2025-20 vacating the existing right-of-way and utility easements, findings of fact and decision to approve the final plat, which is subject to 14 conditions, and then approval of resolution 2025-21 approving the development contract.
Thank you. Does the developer wish to comment?
Brendan Sullivan, 713 Vista Boulevard, number 303, Waconia, Minnesota. I'm here on behalf of Tamarack Land Development for the second edition of the Tanglewood development. Earlier last year, the council approved the preliminary plat for 180 single family homes consisting of two builders, Lennar and David Weekly Homes. We proceeded with the final plat in the fall and construction. And of first edition in the fall, and are now preparing for the next phase of development with the second edition. I appreciate your consideration and would like to thank you, the city council, and also city planner Dan Licht and city engineer Ron Wagner. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mayor, if I could make one additional comment.
Mhm.
You'll recall when the preliminary plat first came through, there were neighbors in Martin Farms that were concerned about tree removal
Yes.
on the north or east side of that. This phase of development does touch those lots. And city engineer Wagner and Mr. Sullivan did meet with the property owners again on site to review which trees would be removed and which could stay. So we did follow up on that item held over from the initial preliminary plat and the initial final plat.
Thank you. All right. We will open the public hearing. Please come to the podium, state your name and address, and limit comments to 5 minutes or less. Does anyone have any comments regarding the Tanglewood second edition? I'll ask again for any public comments. And a third time for public comments. Seeing none, we will close the public hearing and bring it back up to council for questions for staff, the developer or for a motion. Council, questions, comments? Corey?
Madam Mayor, Dan, I just had one question, I think. Is this the St. Michael Albertville School District over there? I should have looked this up, but
Mayor, I believe this is Elk River Schools.
it is. Okay,
East of Martin Farms, that will be the first areas that begin to send students into St. Michael Albertville.
okay. Is St. Michael Albertville, is that open enrollment over there,
Yes.
if I remember right?
Mayor, they used to take quite a number of kids from that area into St. Michael via open enrollment. I believe that decreased once ISD 728 built Prairie View Elementary and then Prairie View Middle.
Okay. Thank you.
Other questions or comments, council? If no further questions, a motion?
Yeah.
Tina?
Motion to adopt resolution 2025-20 vacating existing public right of way and drainage and utility easements. Approve the final plat of Tanglewood Second Edition, subject to the conditions stated at the findings of fact and decision as presented. And adopt resolution 2025-21 approving a development contract.
Second.
Motion by Tina, seconded by Michelle. Is there any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion passes. We are next on city council reports and updates. Does anyone have anything? I would remind everybody tomorrow night is Touch a Truck, so Prairie Park will be very busy. That is 6 to 7:30.
Yep.
Okay.
And then next week is the grand opening for Edwards Park.
Friedrich.
Friedrich. I just pronounce it wrong every time. Apologies. But that's from 6 to 7.
Adam, we have the ribbon cutting tomorrow too, right? For
Yeah.
Mayor, council, yes, tomorrow, Christian Brothers Automotive is holding a ribbon cutting ceremony with the Chamber of Commerce.
About 3 p.m.
Yes.
Correct.
Anyone else?
Madam Mayor,
Yes, right.
there was no planning commission meeting, but the next meeting is scheduled for Monday, May 19th. And there will be 3 public hearing items. Sunshine Dental, which is Outlot A of Waterfront Commons on the east side. Modern Construction, the Otsego Waterfront District, which is mixed use near 101 Market. And then the Greninger property zoning map amendment and CUP for subdividing a property into 2 parcels on the west side of the city.
Thank you. Any other updates? With public safety, the event tomorrow night, public safety is moved to Wednesday. All right, no one else has any other city council reports and updates. We'll move on to staff reports and updates. Adam?
Mayor, council, thank you. You guys did a good job taking half of my items, so. There is a district community partners meeting on Wednesday, at the school district offices, if any of you are interested in that. Next council meeting is a Tuesday due to the Memorial Day holiday, so just a friendly reminder on that one, so. Nothing more there.
what is the meeting again for?
The school district every 2 to 3 months hosts what they call a community partners meeting, invites in the communities from the district, nonprofits, school representation, school board members, just talking about things that are happening within the communities and within the district.
Okay, is that at the district office or?
Most of the time, yes.
Okay.
I can forward you the invite if you're interested.
We would have gotten it a few weeks ago. You check it out. Yeah. Would come from Wanda.
Correct.
Wanda, sure.
Wanda Chamber.
Adam, in regards to, a comment that came up during open forum regarding the Albertville compost site that we share with them.
Yeah, actually, Mayor, Council, I'm meeting with City Administrator Napstead and their Public Works Department on Wednesday afternoon. It is becoming more of a problem. There is no on-site monitoring in terms of security gates or staff presence there. It is within the city of Albertville. They do offer a cost share agreement with the city of Otsego. So typically it's about a 2/3, 1/3 cost split with Otsego picking up the bigger portion. So looking at the long-term future of that, we are going to meet and talk about some solutions potentially.
Right. I would agree with the resident that you do, on the weekends when you pull in, you can barely turn around, and by the size of some of the material, doesn't seem like it's just residents that are dropping items there.
Do we still share in taking care of that with them, with Albertville then, like? You know,
Mayor, yes, that's true. Our staff is out there almost a daily basis, especially this time of year, pushing piles up, making room for people to turn around, hopefully. But if you've been by there recently, it has gotten to a point where it was necessary to chip it, and there was a contractor on site, at least at the end of last week, doing that. So I'm not sure if they're finished yet.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Audra.
Thank you, Mayor. I have no updates.
Okay. Dave.
No updates. Thank you, Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Dan.
Mayor, no further updates. this evening.
Ron.
Thank you, Mayor. Just a few projects going on. Costco, that's ongoing, and an acre second. Boulder Pass fourth, Pride Point fourth. And then now Tanglewood second will start up in the near future. Also an update on the Odine Avenue trunk water main. Talked to the contractor today. It sounds like start up in July, so another couple months yet. That's everything.
Thank you. We're in construction season. All right, if no one has anything else, then a motion to adjourn would be in order.
So moved.
Again. Motion by Corey, seconded by Tina. Is there any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Meeting is ended. Thank you all for attending this evening.